I'm here with Nike professional athlete Keira D'Amato, and we're going to talk about the 2024 Elite Race Kit. Keira, you've been a Nike athlete for several years now. Tell me how this season came to life and what your involvement was in it.
Well, it's been a really fun process because Nike has a really collaborative process with their athletes. So for years, we're testing out, we're trying, we're giving feedback. And it's not like we just go to a meeting and say, we like this. Like, they give us the uniforms, we take them home, we put them through the wear test in ways that we would wear them. We fill out surveys, we give our feedback. And I'm really proud of this collection because they designed it for us with our feedback directly and indirectly. So it's a really cool kit. I'm really, really happy with how everything came out.
So can you talk a little bit about the different fabrics and materials that are specialized? I think some of them you said are more specific for sprints and distance. So what is the level of detail that goes into picking the fabrics?
It is so detailed. And I don't have all the formal lingo for this, but there's different fabric for distance runners and the way that we move and the way that we stretch and sweat than there is for hammer throwers, and they have very different needs. So they're very customized towards your event and how you move in your event and your requirements. For in the marathon, when you're out for hours, you have a different need than when you're sprinting 100 meters. So you could see there's all different fabrics. There's different stretchiness levels. Again, this is not the formal lingo, but they really are customized per event.
I think stretchiness level is the best lingo that I would also personally use. Let's talk a little bit about some of the top options that you think about. So if you're thinking about a longer top versus a crop, kind of what do those situations look like and when you would pick what to wear? And what does that look like when the kit shows up at your door?
So if you were to make Team USA, the first thing you do is you get a survey and you fill out your wants and needs and sizes. So for me, I'll put in 2 different size runs because on the race day, you never really know how you're feeling, how training's going, just what time of the month it is. So you may be leaning towards different sizes. So I request 2 size runs, and then you can request what fits you're comfortable in. And I always like to have something that's full coverage in case it's colder. And if it's going to be hot, I do something that's a little bit shorter and not as much fabric. But then I also get a range of different things, and they'll send it to you usually about a month in advance. So you have time to take it home, to wear it, to work out in it, and to get comfortable with it. But when you get your Team USA kit, for the last 2 years on Team USA, I got a suitcase, and not a carry-on suitcase. You get a monster, you have to check this bag kind of suitcase filled with different options. So really, an athlete has dozens of different ways that you can pair up the kit and make sure it's right and comfortable for you to perform and feel your best.
And let's talk a little bit about kind of the race cuts. I think a lot of people, when they're thinking about track and field, it's whatever makes you feel the best too. Yeah. So I know there's a ton of different options. How are you thinking about, say it's a marathon versus 10K on the track? What are you picking for that day?
Yeah, so there is a brief cut, which is more kind of a bathing suit bottom. There's a boy cut short, which is, I don't know, maybe a couple inch inseam, but it's a little bit more coverage. And then there's a couple different lengths other than that. Also the split short, if you don't want something really that fitted and you want to move a little bit more. And then there's, I think, a 7-inch, and then all the way down to full coverage. So you really have a complete range of what you feel good in. And I know on one of my years, both of my other marathon teammates, they went with the brief cut because they felt like they can get full range of motion. It wasn't restrictive, and that's what they like. And I went with something different, just with a little bit more coverage, because that's what I'm more comfortable in. So yeah, there's a lot of different options here. This is the split short. This is what you would see, I don't know, you'll see a lot of marathoners really like the split short also. And then these are the briefs. And I really like these because they really designed it. We kept asking for more coverage in the rear. So they put a lot more fabric here, so it's not going to ride up. It's not going to tuck in. It's going to stay where it is. And then also they took a lot of our feedback, making sure the front is designed in a way where you have full range of motion and feel really comfortable. And then this is kind of my go-to cut. This is the boy cut short here. So I like just a little more coverage, and I like the way it hits on my leg. It makes me feel good and powerful, and then I could go out and just kick a lot of butt. So.
Yeah. And this season, you said you might mix it up a little bit, test some things out. So are you going to be on the streets of Virginia testing out the different cuts and fits?
Yeah, that's how. So I felt like I needed to change my look. Now I'm going to track Keira rather than road Keira. I'm what should track Keira do? So I've fooled around with the idea of either the 7-inch length or even the briefs. So I'll bring them both home. I'm going to do workouts on the track and on the roads, and I'll see what I feel comfortable in. I'll see like how they fit and just how I can perform in those, and then that will help me make my decision.
And what's the feeling you get when you put on the Nike kit? I think it's something that as an athlete, when you step up to the line, you have your superhero outfit on, like how do you feel?
There is no greater, outside of like anything related to my kids, there is no greater feeling than being able to represent your country. And like for me, my husband, he's in the Air Force, and so he gets to represent our country in the way that he knows how, and this is my way. So be able to wear USA across my chest, it's just, I don't know, just such an incredible feeling. You're so good. You are so awesome.
Hi, I'm Dana Giordano, and I'm here with...
I'm Jordie Katcher, Vice President of Global Sports Apparel at Nike.
All right, Jordie, we are here with kind of some of your designs coming to life today. I'd love to hear a little bit about this Nike 2024 Elite Kit, the Olympic kit, and when did you start working on this?
This is such an exciting time. I can't believe we're 100 days out from the games already. We pretty much start working on an Olympics even before the previous Olympics is over. So of course Tokyo was a little bit delayed, so we were for sure working on 2024 Paris before the Tokyo Games had even happened. But once we see everything in action during the games, and in this case in Tokyo, we then take all of those insights and athlete feedback and start working on really what are the iterations for the next games.
So what are some examples of that athlete feedback from the previous Olympics that you would take into consideration when thinking about the initial designs for the new kit?
I think, at Nike, we always love to say that everything we do starts with listening to the voice of the athlete. And we listen to the voice of the athlete, not just at the start, but the whole way through. So in terms of feedback from Tokyo, one of the things that I love about our athletes is that they are getting more and more comfortable talking to us about things that are distracting them and things that are preventing them from performing at their best, or things that are creating barriers for them to just being totally focused on their sport. So whether that's things as simple and uncomfortable as chafing, or topics that maybe were previously off limits, like women and their cycles and their comfort levels during certain times of the month, we are there and asking them questions and then thinking about ways that we can innovate through apparel to solve those problems.
I love that, and that's exactly what we want to hear, because nothing is worse than putting something on that you don't feel good in, especially on the biggest day of your life. Let's talk a little bit some of the material selection here. So we were just speaking to an athlete who said that some of the materials feel more breathable or stretchy. So what are the technical terms for breathable and stretchy?
Yeah, cool, dry, and comfortable. That's what we want our athletes to feel. And so Dri-FIT is Nike's proprietary innovation that we've had for decades. And we are just continuing to establish our position with Dri-FIT and make sure that we are innovating in this space. And so these, all of these products here on this rack are in our Dri-FIT advanced technology. And really what that means is that we're still using the best materials in the world, and now we're able to even build on it and make them better. And the reason for that is because of digital tools and technology. I think what's really important to know is that we don't just speak to athletes and listen to them, we also study their bodies in our Nike Sports Research Lab. And so we look at their body in motion, we're able to get video capture of their body in motion, we know where their zones of heat are, we know where their sweat zones are and where they evaporate sweat. And so then we're able to take that data and information and with digital tools map the breathability and the stretch into the garments to be able to have them super tuned pixel by pixel for the athletes to be able to perform on the world stage.
I love that. Can you highlight one of the pieces that had some of those technical elements brought into it?
Yeah, I mean, I think the easiest way to show this is actually in a singlet here. So we know that the areas of high heat are both at the chest and the back. And so we have actually engineered breathability into these garments, not just on the front, but also on the back. So heat and sweat can be evacuating the body and keeping the athlete super cool and comfortable throughout their race.
I love that. And then when you're thinking about kind of the breadth of the collection,
yeah.
So how many pieces are really required to create an elite kit? Track and field athletes and other Nike athletes and other sports come in so many different body types, shapes, and sizes. So how do you think about covering all of those needs?
So first, it's just not a one-size-fits-all approach, right? First of all, we know there's a lot of disciplines in track and field, from sprint to distance to throwing, and we need to make sure that we're providing products that are making all of those athletes feel comfortable. And then, of course, there's just the reality that we are designing for all different body shapes and sizes and comfort levels. Some athletes want to feel very uncovered and like they're barely wearing anything, and some feel more comfortable when they are more covered. And so we want to create a line that has a spectrum of choice for our athletes, not just because of discipline, but just because people are unique. And we're serving not just women and not just men, but all athletes as well as all abilities.
I love that. And what's one that you're most proud of in this collection?
Well, I'd say I'm most proud of the fact that we've been able to work with athletes all the way through. And so these are built with and for athletes. One of the things that digital tools enables us to do is work with athletes more frequently and more often throughout the process, because our time between each of the prototypes is reduced. So we can get feedback, we can incorporate it into the next prototype, and then we can send it out to our athletes to actually try and provide feedback for us. And so I'd say I'm most proud of the choice that we're offering athletes, but also how good they look and how our athletes are not just going to look amazing, but they're going to feel amazing. And I can't wait to see them break records and make history this summer in Paris.
One last question for you, a fun one. If you had to pick your race kit, what would you pick?
Okay, well, I'm particularly fond of this. This is actually a new addition to our line for 2024 Paris. It is a unitard, but it's a unitard with built-in short. And so we also, of course, offer this as separates, where you can have a sprint top and a boy short. But then we also created this option to be able to provide just something that has a little flair to it and a little bit more coverage. So you can see the open back. It's just incredibly stunning on a body, stays in place, and just really a fun and beautiful piece.
Love it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.